Bob Young called me on the phone. My son and I had gone back to Milwaukee. I had other things that were deemed more important. So at any rate, he said, "Bob, have you ever heard of a guy named Roger Riemann?" I said, "Absolutely." He said, "Has he really gone fast?" I said, "Yeah, he's gone fast, Bob." "Does he know what he's talking about?" I said, "Yeah." Now, this is the second attempt at setting a record. They went back to California. They put a Don Vesco style center hub steering system on. The motorcycle became stable. However, watch. You're among very, very, very few people who have ever seen this. The neat part is now.
Was that McKibben still in it?
Yep, John was still riding it, and I think it actually crashed through the traps. He was going about 300 miles an hour.
Can you show that again?
Yeah, if the whiz kids would all of this electronic.
No, I think it shows itself again.
Yeah, I believe we'll get a chance, but if it becomes... The thing is, what you're seeing now doesn't take as long as this. You know, you would think people are there, Johnny on the spot, and they kind of are. But this, they had a truck that would take off before the Hawk came by. And the Hawk would get up to speed, and this truck was already going 100. And so they would pan as the machine went by. Well, the guy just had the presence of mind. He just kept the camera right there, and all of a sudden the thing took off, and the Hawk really started to fly. And John got the chutes open. They were running when the wind was a little bit beyond what it should be, and they would get cross drafts. This is the amazing part. That's him climbing out. He had a tiny cracked bone in the back of one hand. Wait till you see the front end of this thing. I mean, it was monocoque construction. Whenever it fell down and slid along, John had wonderful descriptions of what it was like. And I mean, safe to repeat in front of your wife and kids and stuff. Oh, he said, it's unbelievable. He said, it's like a freight train. It's just all these horrendous noises. When this second effort failed to produce the record, they didn't turn it around in 1 hour and start back the other way. The machine was taken back to Gardena and completely restored, and it hangs now in Motegi at the Honda Museum in Japan.
So what was the speed on this attempt? Or what was the best
I think the bike fell down really close to 300 miles an hour. That's what they were trying to achieve, and it just didn't happen, in spite of all the King's men and all the King's horses and 750 horsepower. When this whole program started, Bob Young and I were in Milwaukee, and Honda was kind of curious about this speed record business, and they had of course heard of Gary Gablick, who got in this rocket car, which had two front wheels sandwiched together and then two wheels separated back at the tail end. So theoretically, it was a tricycle, but it qualified as a car because it had two wheels, technically two wheels in the front. Well, a fellow named Garius from Chicago at IIT had designed that car, and it was stable. It was wonderful. So he figured that's the kind of front end we'll put in the Hawk. And that was the first year's effort, and it was not stable. Once they put the other front end in it, the machine ran pretty good. This is all now kind of the aftermath of what's happening. The people are all gathered around and oohing and eyeing, and as I say, the machine gets packed up and goes back to Gardena to be restored. But this part of the film, the first part of the film you saw, if you had heard the sound, it was professionally done by Gray Advertising, and they did a good job. But I can only say that if you ever think about going to Bonneville Salt Flats and setting a record, don't be disappointed. It ain't gonna happen. It takes a lot of savvy and sometimes money, depending on what your level is. But Dennis Manning, have any of you ever seen Dennis Manning's 350 mile an hour machine?
We saw it run, we saw it set the record.
Oh, you did?
In 07, yeah.
Yes, that is an impressive scooter.
Yeah, I just
Oh,
want to
my.
say something really quickly. When you're doing 300 miles an hour, you're going for 1 mile every 12 seconds. It's just faster than you can even
Yeah.
think.
And he did 350.
352.
52, yeah. He had his machine at Pickerington
Yes.
and gave a nice talk on it and took the covers off. Well, if you would see this machine at its best, stacked up next to Dennis Manning's, this was an anvil and a grindstone. And Manning's was one of those, I mean, a computer. It was just like day and night. That's Ed Kababa. He was an engineer on the project. Bob Young, probably, and Bob, I think, is pacing nervously. Not a happy camper. He was going to try and make it here for this presentation on the Sandcast 750s. Bob is the guy that was with me in Japan, or I was with him, or we were together in '69.
How did you get 150 horses out of a detuned motor that started out at 60?
They were turbocharged.
That the other 90 horses is all out of turbocharged?
Oh, yeah, it'll double it.
Yeah, it was turbocharged, and they did achieve the horsepower that they wanted to, and had a little extra. So it had everything going for it, in spite of the fact that they took it back to California. After attempt number 1, they were unable to really improve John's visibility looking forward. And they said that, and John felt that you lose the horizon, and if you lose the black stripe, you kind of wonder where are you, and it was not an easy thing. I sat in that thing, and I thought, I'm wild and crazy, but I am not in a death wish. And that was when we thought it was going to make it. So,
What year was that?
the first effort you saw was 1971 as a solo attempt, a Honda only
I
on
think
the
this will
Salt.
be the crash again, right?
Yeah, here we go. And this is the following year, but this is with other people on the Salt. Up it goes. And then it hits.
So he popped the chutes as soon as he got airborne.
Yes, very good. Very good. Yeah. At lower speeds, he would fall down at 150 and whatever, and the thing just went on its side and the chutes come out and it'd just slide down the Salt. But now see how quickly they're there? In that first film, it was like, oh my God, what's taking them so long? Well, this is a different camera from a somewhat different view, but at any rate, what do you think?
Well, I think we'll turn this off and then have Mr. Hanson come in. I think it's your turn, Bob.
Oh, really?